Start investing in gold and silver at sdbullion.com today and join over 35,000 precious metals investors who have made the switch to the lowest gold and silver prices in the industry. SD Bullion recently claimed a spot on the prestigious Inc. 500, making them one of the fastest growing bullion companies in the United States. With low bullion prices and over-the-top customer service, SD Bullion is setting the standard for precious metals transactions. Visit www.sdbullion.com today. Start saving on every precious metals purchase you make.
Hey everyone, this is Elijah Johnson with SilverDoctors.com, and with us today is Rob Kirby from Kirby Analytics. Rob Kirby, thank you so much for joining us today.
Pleasure to be with you again, Elijah.
All right, we're almost to the point of Trump's inauguration. Trump is going to become the 45th president of the United States. It still seems unbelievable to me and many, maybe in the mainstream. But one of the things that's really historic about this is that Trump will be the only person ever to become president of the United States with no prior government or military experience. And I know I've talked with you before about there's also a really significant thing that's happening, that the prospect of globalism, Trump has basically shattered that. Can you discuss your latest thoughts on Trump's inauguration and its impact on globalism?
The election of Donald Trump is a severe impediment or roadblock to the globalist plan, which just to reiterate, the globalist plan is one world government, one world currency, and one world religion, namely the worship of the state itself. Trump wants no part of that. Trump wants no part of America ceding its sovereignty to technocrats who are unelected and not responsible to anyone. Trump believes in basically American ideals, manifest destiny, and that Americans, make their own way in the world and are governed by themselves, as opposed to unelected, global hacks. And all that being said, let's just hope that Trump does, in fact, make it to Inauguration Day, because we just learned yesterday that one of Trump's key advisors, Roger Stone, was poisoned over the holiday season. And it was revealed yesterday that Mr. Stone had ingested a substance called polonium. And what polonium is, it's a radioactive substance which is only accessible to state actors. There is no other state on the planet that would have this sort of animosity towards Roger Stone, who has written many books chronicling the wrongdoings and the criminal doings of the Clinton family. And the fact that he was poisoned, an attempted assassination to kill him, which he made it through, shows us the lengths that these globalist actors will go to have their way with people who stand for statehood and people who stand for the American Constitution. And, so there are very, very bad actors out there. And these bad actors have, I've been reading about their plans to disrupt the inauguration festivities going forward. And let's just hope that this inauguration comes off and there isn't a major disruption or a loss of life of any import.
Now, what is your perspective on the blowback? As you were saying, Roger Stone, he's saying that he was poisoned, and you explained a lot about that. What is your perspective on the blowback that will come from Trump and the populace about this?
Yeah, well, when Roger Stone was interviewed about this and made this public revelation about his poisoning yesterday, Alex Jones asked him directly if he had shared any of this information or knowledge with Donald Trump. And Roger Stone had replied to Alex Jones that he hadn't told Trump about any of his, unfortunate circumstance, because he didn't want to burden him when he was so busy with the transition of power. But let's just say that Trump is now very aware that the anti-Trump deep state have tried to off and assassinate one of his very, very close friends and confidants. And my guess is that Mr. Trump will now have the gloves off and will be swinging a mighty big bat. So some of these pathetic, disgusting filth that occupy high seats in the U.S. intelligence community might want to be looking over their shoulder for what might be coming behind them at this point in time.
Now, I remember when we were talking before, we started the interview, you were saying that the people get it as well. They understand what's going on with this push for globalism by the elite. So we've seen the people react, for example, with Brexit and electing Trump. And you've said this really isn't about Trump. It's about the people waking up to what's happening.
Yes. And to sort of put this in very, very common layman terms, you see, the effect of globalism over the last 20, 30 years has been to consolidate power into the hands of the very few. And this is no better illustrated than data that was released very recently, where it was revealed that a year ago, the 62 richest people on this planet had as much wealth as half of the rest of the world. But today, it's just 8 people now have the wealth of half of the rest of the world. You see, and in this manner, you can see how the goal of globalism has been to consolidate the bounty of the planet into the hands of the very few. People get this. People observe this going on around them. People are aware that they're being screwed. People are aware that the middle class is evaporating and that the wealth and the bounty of the earth is being concentrated in fewer and fewer and fewer hands. And people have had it up to the ears with this because they know they're getting a rotten deal. And when you're getting a rotten deal long enough, sometimes people, gather their collective will and they hike their britches and they say, no mas, I've had enough. And this is what the expression of the Brexit vote and the election of Trump. You see, it's not about Trump. What's going on in America is really got nothing to do with Trump. It's a movement, and it's an awakening. People get it. People know they've been screwed. They've been screwed by a bunch of narcissistic elitists who think that they have the right to steal and rob everyone blind, and they've had enough. So you know what? The globalists should wake up to the notion that they're all on notice now. The whole lot of them. They're all on notice.
Now, during the campaign, Trump promised to drain the swamp and get a lot of these kind of establishment people out of D.C. Now, a lot of people have been criticizing Trump as he's selecting his different people to fill his cabinet, that a lot of these people seem a little swampy as well. Do you think actual change is coming? Because it seems like you're saying Trump getting elected pretty much killed or at least set back globalism for a long time. But what about him filling his cabinet with a lot of kind of establishment type people?
Okay, I'm going to address that issue by saying the following. Trump lives in the real world. Trump, I believe, is an American patriot. But Trump also had to, and listen, some of the people that he's nominated, like his choice for Treasury being a Goldman Sachs, ex-Goldman Sachs partner and alumni, makes me wince. Some of these, establishment connected people make me think twice. But I would only offer this. As I said to a friend back several weeks ago, when he was extremely disappointed with the nomination of a Goldman Sachs alumni to the Treasury post, I said to him, well, do remember that even Catherine Austin Fitts is an ex-Goldman Sachs employee many years ago. And, Catherine Fitts, being an ex-Goldman Sachs person, she was part of the Bush seniors administration, and she was the assistant secretary of HUD, Housing and Urban Development, and she uncovered $60 billion worth of fraud, which she tried to out in her department, and there were attempts made on her life for doing so. So before we get the cart out in front of the horse, Mr. Trump has not yet had the ability to actually govern, and let's judge his performance or his governance on the basis of how he governs, because he has not yet taken the oath of office. And the only thing I would offer in terms of a rebuttal to the notion of who he has put up as his cabinet, if you're watching the circus that's going on on the mainstream TV stations right now, where they're grilling Trump cabinet picks, understand that Trump had to put forward a slate of candidates that could get confirmed. And if he had gone too far outside of the, let's just say, the accepted norms, he very well might have ended up in a situation where a bunch of his picks wouldn't have been confirmed. So I guess really at the end of the day, what I'm really saying is, and I'm telling you, I'm not giving Trump a pass. If anyone thinks I'm blind to be pro-Trump, it's not about Trump to me. To me, it's about globalism. The man says he stands against the globalists. That works for me. How he's going to govern remains to be seen. And he'll be judged by how he governs. I just don't want to prejudge him before he has a chance to govern. And so let's see how the game gets played once he assumes the role. And that's all I'm saying. And I'd hope people wouldn't read any more into it than what I'm saying. Let's see how he governs with this cast of characters that he's assembled. And all I would also offer is he's picked these people because these are people he believes in and he believes that he can trust.
One of the last things I'd like to discuss about the Trump presidency is how you think it'll impact the U.S. dollar. Trump was recently interviewed by the Wall Street Journal. He did this economic interview, and he said that the dollar was too strong, and he was talking about how China manipulates its currency. Now, since then, the dollar has went down a bit, and also precious metals have gone up. What is your perspective on how a Trump presidency will impact the dollar?
Well, my view there is that Trump is promising to spend a lot of money to, let's just say broadly, to rebuild America, to rebuild infrastructure, rebuild the military, which to me is a bit of a red herring in itself, because the U.S. outspends the rest of the world combined on military expenditure. So the notion of rebuilding it is a bit of a silly statement. But all that being said, Trump being the nationalist that he is, the American nationalist that he is, he believes in having a strong U.S. military presence. I accept that. And I believe that he will do everything in his power to make that happen. But let's just say fiscal deficits look like they're going to be arcing up over a Trump presidency, which means an awful lot more debt, which means an awful lot more dollars in circulation, which should mean that the dollar going forward is worth less. And worth less relative to other currencies, possibly, and worth less relative to traditional stores of value like precious metals. So I look for the price of precious metals to increase in nominal dollar terms, and I think that's where we're headed.
Now, what about the Federal Reserve? Because there's been talk about, how Congressman Rand Paul and Congressman Thomas Massie are trying to get through, once again, the Audit the Fed bill through Congress. And it seems like there might be a little bit more hope this time because there's going to be a Republican House and a Republican Senate. And Trump has been critical of the Fed, and he's said that we should audit the Fed. What is your perspective on whether the Audit the Fed bill will get passed?
Well, whether or not the Audit the Fed bill gets passed or not, I really don't even know what to say there. To me, it would be a wonderful development if it did get passed, but I certainly wouldn't hold my breath expecting it to. The globalist powers which emanate from the banking world still possess an awful lot of power and still have the ability to bribe and buy people and gain their favor when it comes to critical votes. But I mean, Trump certainly in past utterances has been very clear that he is not necessarily a friend of the central banking community. And let's just hope, if nothing else, let's just hope that he brings more of an air of legitimacy and transparency to activities of the Federal Reserve, which has been which has had a pretty easy ride for quite a while from American heads of state in recent years.
All right. Well, Rob Kirby, thank you so much for joining us today. Before we let you go, did you want to share with the viewers where they can find you and any last thoughts you had?
No, you can catch me on the web at kirbyanalytics.com. Just want to say Happy New Year to everybody, and we should be in for, I think, a very interesting, if not unprecedented year.
Definitely. Happy New Year to you too, and thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure.